Hi, my name's Jason, and today I'm going to review this ART P16 XLR Patchbay. I'm going to do three things in this video. Just discuss why I thought it was a good fit for my home studio, the use case. I will take it apart, show you how it's constructed, and then I'll show you how I actually installed it in my studio. And my general thoughts on it are, it's a decent piece of gear. It's good value for money as long as it fits your needs. It's not a sponsored video. I bought this with my own money from my local music store. So let's talk about my use case. I have a small studio here and 4 inputs on my converter, but I basically have 8 sources that I use on a regular basis. I'm trying to set up a hub so that it was quick and easy as possible to switch between sources in an organized way without having to, dig around on the floor for wires or whatever. Digging around on the floor was literally the first solution I tried. I put everything into an XLR snake, and then I just had a hub where all of those XLRs would come together. But it was literally just a mess of wires in a pile, and I would have to plug them and unplug them from the mess. The P16 really does a very similar job to the mess of XLR snakes. It's just that it gives a fixed point where one end is all solidly connected, and then I'm mixing and matching and plugging in the other side of that XLR. Which is nice because I can label them all in order and know exactly what I'm getting and not have to search through. So why did I pick an XLR Patchbay instead of a TRS was because of phantom power. So I'm going to be running mics directly back to my DA converter that need phantom power. And if you are using a TRS, when you plug in and out of your Patchbay, you are going to short the phantom power for that little fraction of a second when you push that TRS through, whereas an XLR does not short when you connect it and disconnect it. Now, you should probably turn off your phantom power when you're disconnecting and connecting, but let's face it, you're gonna forget at some point. So for wear and tear on my equipment, I wanted XLR. So the ears on each end of this unit do just come off, and that's so that it's reversible, so you can have either the male or the female side of the XLR facing out when you mount it in a rack. When you actually get to look inside, you see that all of the connectors are into a familiar green circuit board, and they're all mounted with metal screws into this metal case. It's pretty sturdy, but the individual pieces are not separable. So you could not reverse just one of these unless you really wanted to get in there and start soldering at a circuit board, which I'm guessing most people don't. There are units where individual XLR bays are reversible, but they were quite a bit more expensive, so I decided to go with this one. So this is where I've set up my hub. I've got a rack here that I've built for all of the gear that I want to hold in my studio. You can see I've got an amp up at the top, and then the hub starts. That's a preamp. And then I've got a digital effects rack, that's a bass amp, and then there's another guitar amp there below. So all of those devices are coming out on an XLR output that are flowing out of that channel there below the amp. And in fact, you're listening to line 1 from this snake goes back to my AD converter. This is coming out of the preamp right now into line 1, and the microphone you're listening to is going in right here. All of those XLR outputs are going to go into the back of the P16, and then I've got this snake coming out of this hole, which is going to go back to my AD converter. So this is pretty easy to install now that I've done all the work to set it up. This is the left and right of my synth. This is the left and right of my stereo mics that need phantom power. Then we have my Marshall amp, my bass amp, my Fender amp, and now I'm going to have to temporarily unplug my microphone, which doesn't have phantom power running on this line right now. And we're back on. I've got 8 inputs running into the back of that. That slides in. I'm going to screw that in later. But now, when I want to hook up an input to my AD converter, so say I want to get my synth on line 3 and 4. There you go, my synth is on line 3 and 4. If I want to switch that line 3 and 4 to my stereo mics, no phantom power currently turned on. There we go. If I want to switch between my amps, that's usually what I use channel 2 for. Now it's on the Fender amp. Now it's on the bass amp. Now it's on the Marshall amp, because all of these amps have cab sims out the back. So thanks a lot for watching. I made this video about a month after I bought the unit. It's been a big relief, get everything organized just for easy plug in, plug out. It's much faster, just less annoying when you want to switch your input. So I do this type of material on this channel. I am trying to be a professional musician. I'm aiming for a very high quality result. I'm budget conscious, but I'm not cheap about the stuff that I put in this room. If that's the kind of perspective you're interested in, here I am. I do gear reviews. I talk about the techniques that I do in this home studio, and I do live streams of original music that I write and record here. So thanks a lot for watching.